Hello and welcome to the Work for Change podcast. My name is Jean, spelled like Gene.
And my name is John with a silent H.
You did it.
Yeah, man, that's going to be my new thing. I'm excited about it. I like it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it today during the workout. Literally during my workout, I was like, I'm going to say that.
I'm going to say it right.
And, yeah, I'm going to say it right this time. And I'm going to make it a thing, and I'm going to put it on t-shirts and sell them.
With this John with the silent H. What's funny is like
your name's John. No, just this guy I follow.
Yeah, but it's also like if you both of our names written out, like mine looks like Gene spelled like Gene, like when I type it out, and then yours John with the silent H. And when you spell John, it has the H in there.
Yeah.
So it's just like
Why?
I don't know.
That's weird. Okay, let's not get into
And
that.
the fact that like your name's not even short for Jonathan.
Yeah, I know. I think that's funny.
You're
On my
literally
birth
just
certificate,
John.
just John.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So,
welcome to episode 12 of the Work for Change
is
podcast.
this 12 or is this 13?
I don't know.
I think this is episode 13.
Welcome to one of these episodes.
One of the episodes of the Work for Change podcast.
Oh, you know what? I think it is episode 13.
Yep.
Because we've officially made pretty much 3 months now. Welcome to episode 13 of the Work for Change podcast.
So cool. So I wanted to start the episode again reading one of our awesome reviews on iTunes. So this one is by E.M. Vignuolo. I think that's I don't know. I'm sorry. But it says, 5 stars, awesome. John and John are both so inspirational and it has carried over to the podcast. I love how laid back, honest, and transparent they are. The interviews they do are awesome. So many great stories. Truly 2 incredible men who have changed their own lives and are looking to spread love and help. So we really appreciate that.
Hold on. Can you give the runner-up?
So there's another one that I thought was awesome. So this is from Moneymaker 1900. So this is in reference to the last podcast.
In which I was talking about just neuropaths and brains and stuff. Yeah.
So as a college student majoring in psychology, you saying that you're not a brain guy literally made me laugh out loud in the middle of the gym.
That's
not a brain guy.
That, we don't have many aims and goals for this podcast. One of them, making you look ridiculous in the middle of the gym, laughing to yourself,
is
absolutely
100%. So we are really proud of that. But yeah, if you do want to get featured on, us reading your review, obviously we need you to leave a review. So if you could do that, if you're listening on iTunes, that's kind of where we're getting most of them, just because that's where the majority of people listen. So if you're on iTunes, please leave a review. Please give us, 5 stars if you can, and we'll be able to read that. But again, if you are on YouTube or anywhere else, if you can leave a review or if you can leave any sort of rating, we would really appreciate it. And yeah, so it really does, genuinely, I hate to beg, but it really does help the podcast out a lot. So if you could please do it, just take 30 seconds out of your day and give us that review. It really does help us out a lot. We've been pretty bad at trying to ask for them recently. We need to get back into it because it really does help us out a lot. So if you are listening on your laptop, just for real quick, just go on there, do that review for us, and we would really appreciate it.
Also, while you are listening on whatever platform and you want to post about it, if you want to make an Instagram story, you want to make an Instagram post, hashtag Work for Change podcast is going to be the best way. I follow that hashtag now.
W4C podcast.
Yeah, we're just going to, I think it's easier, Work for Change podcast.
Okay, so we've changed it up. That's new for me.
Yep.
I'm learning on the fly.
I've decided to go with it. It's just easier to remember.
I like it.
Work for Change podcast.
Yeah.
It's longer, but once you type it in once,
it's there forever.
Yeah, yep. Instagram remembers that you did it. So hashtag Work for Change podcast on Instagram if you want to tag us. My name is Jean Glod or Gene Glod, whichever way you want to do it. And then this guy over here has 10 Instagram handles, so you never really know whichever
one you want to tag me and use it, and it's fine because I love seeing that you guys are listening to it. So yeah, if you are listening, if you want to take a little screenshot, put it in your story or something like that, and tag us in it, we always love that because we repost those a lot on our Instagrams. So please do that. That would be awesome.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoy this episode 13 of the Work for Change podcast. Let's get into it. So, we like to give me a lot of crap all the time, and it's really it's getting to my head, it's getting to me, and I have to just let everyone know, and I need to get it off my chest. We're always talking about the fact that my snatch is terrible, and that I can never hit over 185 pounds. Last week, we had a hang snatch EMOM.
Okay.
And I was able to get 195 pounds.
Dang.
And
was it full snatch, squat, and everything?
Yeah, full, hang, squat, snatch. So those two things together are typically a really bad combo for me. I was able to get 195, and I got 200, but I missed it, but behind me, and then I ran out of time.
Well, congratulations, John.
So, if you guys can stop making fun,
you're the one that makes you make fun of yourself more than anyone else makes fun of you.
I 100% will not stop making fun of my 185-pound snatch. I'm glad it's feeling better, and it was like when I was doing it, I was like, all right, I'm probably gonna get 165. Like that was where my mind was, but they consistently felt better and better and better and better, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna keep on going. And I'm hitting 195, and I'm super stoked about that.
So, first off, congratulations.
Thank
because
you.
that's actually not bad. Because my PR snatch, just regular, full snatch, is 217. So it's not really that far off of it.
Oh, I'm gonna beat you so quick.
I hope not. I hope that I'm able to hold you off there. So why do you think that it felt better this time?
I have been a lot more intentional with stretching and stretching. Like,
what is it about a snatch that's hard for you?
So, first thing, like, you have to know your body. And
your
so
body is a wonderland.
My body is a wonderland. And so I know that now. No. You have to know your body, and you have to know what warm-up is going to be most beneficial for you. Because the warm-up that someone else is doing isn't necessarily going to be your best warm-up.
It's not going to be.
Yeah.
That's so important. Because, like, people they've asked me to can you make a warm-up routine or your mobility routine? I'm like, I can, but it's literally the only person that it should help is me.
Yeah.
So you should... It all comes down to trying to learn for yourself, right? If you're just listening to what this person is saying, you're probably not doing what's best for you.
Yeah, so the first thing is a warm-up routine that works for me, that I have been through trial and error trying to figure out. I've given myself like 15 minutes. So before is like if you have like 30 minutes to warm up, you're just kind of doing whatever. But when I start, I look at the clock and I go, from 15 minutes from now, I need to be ready to start. And
Where'd you get that from?
James Newberry on his Instagram.
Something. Yeah, I remember you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
It was somewhere that he was posting that.
He
So if you don't
posted
know who
that.
James Newberry is,
Go follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, go follow him.
He's
Tell
an
him
Australian.
Tell him to come on the podcast. We might not understand anything he says because he speaks Australian.
And it'll also be like 1 a.m. for us.
Yeah.
Because it's like a 14-hour
hey, man,
time
thanks
difference.
for coming on the podcast.
We're going to take a nap.
But yeah, so I remember you telling me about that. So that's good.
So setting it to 15 minutes for a warm-up, and then consistently doing the same things, like the same movements that really help me. A lot of it is actually like inner thigh and groin, and then also shoulders. So
yeah, I've actually. So today, actually, I decided to work on ring muscle ups. So for me, ring muscle up is for you snatches, right? Or just really any high technique, basically any muscle up, bar or ring. But bar has been getting better. Ring I haven't been working on, so it hasn't been. So today, after the workout, I decided I wanted to work on ring muscle ups. Now, this is something that I've noticed works a lot for me, is if I'm thinking about that movement before I do it. So for me, it's been a couple days, and I've been thinking I want to work on my muscle ups. So I've been thinking, what is it that I'm doing that I want to fix? So for me, what I've always done, we kind of do the same thing, is we swing our legs a little bit too much. Like when we try to get the turnover, we you want to keep your legs tight. And for me, I kind of swing my legs because in my head, I'm like, I need to do everything I can to get over the ring and be able to get into the dip. So for me, I was focusing on, it was like what I was doing, and it sounds cheesy, like, visualizing it, but that's what helped me. Like when I got my first ever bar muscle up, because that was in the open, so I had basically almost a whole week knowing I'm going to try and get a muscle up for the first time in this workout. So I was thinking about it for almost a whole week. So what I did the past few days was I was like, I need to focus on keep staying long, because one of the things I would crunch up, and get my knees almost to my chest when I was trying to do the muscle up. So staying long and keeping my feet together, just like thinking there's something in between my toes. And so today they felt really good. I posted on my Instagram, and it's nothing super crazy. I just did 2. It's nothing super fancy, but for me, it's like it's nice not only focusing on getting something, but trying to get better at it, because it's so easy to be like in your head, especially with like CrossFit. It's like, oh, I have that movement. Let's move on to the next one, right? And that's like what I've always done but you have the movement, but it looks like garbage.
Yeah.
At least for me, it did, Yeah. And so that was something that was really nice this week. It was literally like 2 hours ago. They felt really good, and I was really proud of them.
And it's just like having the mentality that you can get 1% better every single day, and that could be at anything. Like, you don't have to focus on one thing all the time. You should, that's going to be the best way to improve is by choosing something and then deciding how you can be better at it.
Especially
right?
in CrossFit,
So
because there's so
much
things
you can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you go in with a mentality of I'm going to get better at something today, you will notice that in 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, you're going to be a totally different person than when you came in. And so I think that's huge. Don't go in with this like I'm just going to get a sweat on, but be like, how can I improve? Like literally, how can I improve today? And you're going to see big changes. Another thing that's going to help you improve, and this is just in life in general with anything, is actually taking rest days. So I'm going to ask you.
Oh man.
Yesterday on Sunday, we were eating lunch, and you're like, I'll probably go to the gym later. And then we're like, oh, dude, you need to take rest days. You never take rest days. You never take rest days. You're like, yeah, but I have nothing else to do. It's like, yeah, but you need to let your body recover. So Sunday, what did you do?
Why am I laughing?
I don't know.
I took a rest day.
Good.
I cleaned out my room. All right?
You did that on Sunday?
Yes, I did. I did that yesterday. So I did take a rest day.
Good.
But leave me alone. But
No.
yeah, I need people should very true. Like the saying is like, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, you don't.
Because people should not do what I do.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy working out so much, especially when I'm like,
No,
well,
I just think is you're bored, and that's
Yeah,
that's what you do when you're bored.
yeah,
So you need to get a freaking hobby. That's what you need to
I
do.
It's called working.
No,
out.
you need an extracurricular hobby.
Yeah, I do need to find something else to do. But yeah, so I took a rest day. So I'm really proud of myself, and I cleaned out my whole room, and I got rid of a bunch of clothes that I didn't wear anymore, and I gave them away to like one of the places that take clothes.
Yeah.
Not you this time,
Like
John.
like a thrift store.
Yeah. So John always usually gets my clothes, but I was like, not today,
Hey,
John.
It's a great way to save money for me.
Yeah,
so.
it's true. And I got rid of some shoes because one of the things, like, I enjoy shoes a lot and getting them, training shoes, but I don't like having a bunch of shoes. There's no point for me. If I realize I haven't been wearing them for a while, I get rid of them. But yeah, so I did that, and that was good. So I did not go to the gym, and I'm proud of myself. But yeah, I mean, it's hard because I really, like, all jokes aside, I really do, like, enjoy it. And for me, it's like when I go, especially like if it's a day that I should be resting, I don't normally go and like destroy myself. It's just like I'm gonna be sitting watching Netflix anyways, so why not be doing something slightly productive, even if it's just going on the stairs for 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
But would you be going on Netflix anyway if you had something else to do?
No. Yeah, I know. That's
So
true.
so it's just a matter.
No, that's a
of,
good point.
I mean,
I don't understand why you need to attack me though on the podcast. It's rude.
except for the fact that you said during lunch, let's talk about this tomorrow on the podcast.
Now you're calling me out.
Yeah.
We try and come up with a good amount of ideas
Just some
for the podcast.
potential things to talk
Yeah.
about. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, but what is, honestly, I'm asking you.
Okay.
Do as you say, not as you do.
Mhm.
What is the benefit of a rest day?
I mean, you actually recover from things. So, like, when you really think about it, and
Like, if
I've
you're-
always liked this analogy is like
If
when
you're feeling good, what's the point of a rest day?
to help you feel even better, really. Like, help your muscles recover. So, like, I've always liked, especially when I was doing, like, the bodybuilding stuff only, it was basically working out and days where you're training are breaking down your muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And then resting is building that up. So if you're never resting, you're never actually building muscle. Who knows how true that is? I'm not going to sit here and say that's 100% true, because I mean I've been known to not take. When I first started, this is crazy. I was thinking about that recently. When I first started going to the gym, I did not take a rest day for probably 6 months, and this was like because it was so new to me, and it was like because like you were saying, I need to get a hobby. For me, it was like I found a new hobby, so I was like I was full 100% in, and so yeah, I remember I didn't take a rest day for like 6 months or something crazy like that.
But a large part of that was you weren't working out. You were on this.
Yeah, I was just yeah. I mean, a lot of it was in. It's not like I was doing because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just going to the gym doing. It's hard to even remember back then. It's crazy to think about that, like how lost I felt in the gym before, and how unbelievably comfortable I feel in the gym now. And like, especially, I mean, here is one thing, the CrossFit gym, it's just different. But even at like a normal gym, even say if I go to some town, right, whenever I travel, and I'm going to be going to LA, the LA Fit Expo, which if you're going to be there, say hey.
We will
please.
both be there.
Yeah, we'll both be there. So please say hey. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually really excited about it. And I want to talk about expos a little bit later. But so when I'm going to that, I'm going to be going to random gyms, and I'm not going to feel uncomfortable there. I'm going to feel very at home. And it's just funny because if that was before, I probably wouldn't have even gone. Well, I wouldn't have gone to the Fit Expo because I would have been too scared. That's I'm all over the place. But that's something that is so cool to me when I go to an expo, and I have people that are following me that say, they're not the most fit. They're still on their weight loss journey. So they're going to this Fit Expo surrounded by people that are with their shirts off and just being extra gym, gym bro, and just walk around, and then they're there, being, they still have weight to lose, so they kind of stand out and still being comfortable to go there. Because I always think of where I was, and there's just no way. I would have been no way. And so, but yeah, so I would have been super uncomfortable at the gym, and now I'm just super comfortable. So
what are you gonna say about expos?
Yeah, well, it's funny because when I first started bodybuilding and stuff, I used to be super excited about going to the expos and seeing people and and I just was super into that culture. And now that I'm kind of more into CrossFit and stuff like that, it's funny because I just see it a little bit differently now. And I don't want to make a bunch of enemies, but it's just the expos itself. Now I love going still and meeting people 100%. I'm not saying that I don't like doing that, because I do. That's why I go. That's the only reason I go. I don't go. I'm not going with any companies. I'm not sponsored by any companies that are going to bring me. I'm not going to be sitting at a booth. I'm not going to be selling stuff to you. I'm just going to walk around and say hi and hopefully meet people, right? That's why I'm going. But I remember before it was all about networking and trying to get in with these people and trying to get in with those people, and I used to just be so in that whole scene. And now when I look at it from the other side, now I just see all an expo is just a way to sell more stuff to people. And it's just, I don't know, it's just funny, kind of the changes that I've had.
I think it can be. I think that was a loud slurp in the.
Sorry.
I think that they can be, but when they have a I don't care about bodybuilding competitions. I really don't at all, right? But at the LA Fit Expo, there's a pretty big bodybuilding competition, right? That's one of the days. Is there's something.
I'm sure there is.
There's stuff that's already happening,
mm-hmm.
and then an expo has been kind of built around that, right?
I don't think with the LA Fit Expo it's like that. It's like that for the Olympia, which is in
the Arnold.
Yeah, and the Arnold. Those two for sure. I think the LA Fit Expo, I'm sure there is, but it's not a huge, the Arnold and the Olympia are huge, events.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding events. I could be wrong. I'm sure there are
mm-hmm.
competitions at the LA Fit Expo. Well, there are, because I've seen the people walking around.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as a huge deal as the Olympia and as the Arnold.
Yeah, it is. Expos are very interesting worlds. And I think that CrossFit just hasn't been interested in doing expos. You know what I mean? We have our competitions, and then at competitions,
that's kind of the expo.
People bring their booths and their products and stuff like that. But
think about it. When you go to regionals, right? There's that whole vendor village.
Yeah.
That's just a mini expo, really.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like that. It's just funny, yeah, because when so I've been to the Arnold. So I think the point that you were trying to make, I've been to the Arnold and the Olympia multiple times. On both of those, I have never stepped foot into the actual Arnold and the Olympia, seeing the people walk on stage ever. I just don't care. I never did.
Exactly.
And so, but the expo has built, like you're saying, it's turned into its own monster almost, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it is interesting that it's like that, because it would be think about it in CrossFit terms. If you went to regionals and someone was like, yeah, I went to regionals, but I didn't watch any of the events. Well, rest in peace, regionals. But I went to Wodapalooza, but I didn't watch any of the workouts. I just walked around and think about it. It was I went to Wodapalooza. I didn't watch anyone work out. But I walked around and people tried to sell me stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what an expo is, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird. At the LA Fit Expo last year, Sam and I went, and she was walking around. She's like, I've had that protein. I've had those BCAAs. I've tried that root workout. I've had that protein. And I was like, oh, my gosh, you little...
you hussy.
Yeah, you're protein hussy.
You've tried everything. Yeah, it's just different,
And it just goes to show, I just think that our idea, we have to get away from the idea that fitness is bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I think that, ooh, man, I don't want to get, some of the most unhealthy people in the entire world are
You're about
bodybuilders.
to open a can of worms.
Yeah, and I don't want to, and I'm not going to go deeper into that. But some of them unhealthy, to be fit, you should be able to go up a flight of stairs and not be gassed. You should be able to run a quarter mile and be fine with that. You should be able to lift heavy weight, and you should be able to move your body, be somewhat flexible, right? Like, I feel like that is an ideal candidate for someone who is fit. And so when you are so hyper-focused on one aspect that everything else throws out the window, that your diet is like, you proudly promote that you eat Oreos or blah, blah, you know what I mean? Like, but you still, like, there is a disconnect there. There really, really is. But bodybuilding is America's form of fitness, so that is the only thing people know. I want to get fit on January 1st. I go to 24-hour fitness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like this element of like, no, you should be able to overhead squat more, run faster, deadlift more, do more gymnastics. Like, you should be able to do all of that as a level of fitness and not just be so hyper-focused on the way your body looks, but can totally ignore the way your heart actually is.
I agree. But also, I think that just because you're really good at CrossFit doesn't mean that you're fit as well. Wrong. Doesn't mean you're healthy. Because there are some people that can be really good at CrossFit and can do a lot of stuff, but they can be very, very unhealthy as far as their relationship with food is. So I think that fitness...
I'm not saying CrossFit is the end all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that...
Because I don't want to say that. I don't want us to seem like... Because that's not how I am.
No, and I don't think it is either. But I definitely don't think the way the bodybuilding culture is built, where that is supposedly the fittest of the fit, I definitely don't think that is. I'm not saying CrossFit is, but that is definitely not.
And I think that most people would agree with you, especially most people that probably listen to our podcast. But I think that it is switching. Because I know that when I first started getting into fitness, CrossFit was bigger, not bigger than it is now, but it was big. It was pretty big. But I feel at least it wasn't as big as it is now. But I mean, who knows, right? I just didn't know anything about it. But yeah, that's how when I first started going to the gym, it was like leg day, back day, chest day, bodybuilding split. That's all I knew. And so yeah, it's definitely. I think it's definitely switched a little bit. Like, it used to be all about what you look like, and people are realizing, okay, but what can you do?
Yeah.
And so
I remember hearing, I don't remember where it was, but it was like a power lifter or something. Great. There's some of the strongest people in the world, and it's insane. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about walking up a couple steps and being super winded. And I just remember thinking and he was a good power lifter.
Yeah.
I remember thinking if that is the elite of that sport, if that is the result of that, there is no way that is how we are supposed to be. There is no way.
I think that I agree, but at the same time, I understand sport specific things, and if in your head you're training for a sport, I get why you might do things differently, and I think that that's important to realize. So if you think about football, right, American football, think about a wide receiver. You would perceive them as a fit person that, you know what I mean? They're going to be more agile, faster. If you think about an O-lineman, they're bigger. Probably a lot of people call them fat, but they're probably super incredibly strong. Everything they do is probably to be the best O-lineman they can be. And so for them, it's to take up a lot of space and make sure people cannot get past them. So I get where you're coming from, and I agree. I'm just trying to be, devil's advocate. So if you're a power lifter, and if in your head, but again, it's different, right? So if in your head you're I just want to be a good power lifter, and I'm going to do anything that it takes to be a good power lifter, then I understand maybe some of the steps. But if in your head you're I want to be as fit as possible, so I'm going to be a power lifter, that's probably not the right way to go.
Yeah, and I think also football is a weird subject to talk about, because you look at they're huge and they're big and they're gigantic, and they also have a concussion every game.
Well, yeah,
and you know what I mean.
Like
so
I said, it's I'm not saying that it's the pinnacle of everything, but I'm just saying there's people that train specifically, or think about strongmen, right?
So I think what we're getting on is somewhere along the lines of, because I know what you're going to say with strongman, but
you do. You can read my mind, huh?
If it's in a line with all the other examples you've been bringing up, I get it.
Whatever, genius.
I think that it is good to know that if you are looking for relative fitness, maybe the best people to look at are not the elite of the sport. Actually, definitely the best people to look at are not going to be the elite of the sport, because they are going to be doing things and making sacrifices that a regular person, a lay person, whatever, should not be making.
Yeah, you can't make.
Cannot make.
Because even if you're looking at the elite of our sport, right, Matt Frazier, I mean, I'm sure he would be like, you shouldn't do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If you're like, you can't. You literally can't. Like, I cannot do what he does. A day of his training would absolutely destroy me.
Not only that, but like just on a real practical level, like he works out all day, literally all day, doesn't do anything else, and at Dubai won $100,000. If I work out all day and don't do anything else, and I don't bring home any money,
you're homeless.
I'm homeless. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I am not contributing to society. I am a leech. I am just sucking off people for money, for food, for whatever. I cannot afford a gym membership. I cannot afford anything. Like, so even just on a real practical level, like, you can't, like, I don't know the solution here. Follow more just mid-level people and get an idea.
Basically, what we're trying to say is you should follow us on Instagram.
So
that's the whole point of this.
We are the pinnacle
of what you should strive for. The
Ignore
whole point of this podcast.
Ignore everyone else and only listen to us. But do you know what I'm saying?
No, like, I get 100%. I know exactly where you're coming from, because I mean, I totally agree. So it's good to be inspired by, people, because obviously, like, right, everyone that plays basketball sees Michael Jordan is like, man, I would love to be there.
Yeah.
But let's be real, like, not everyone can practice as much as he did. Not everyone can do what he did, but it's good to be able to be inspired by that, right? Like, for us, it's going to be Matt Frazier, or for basically any other games athlete, right?
Yeah, any games
It's good to be inspired by that person, but at the same time, you have to understand, I can't do what they do.
So that also, we have been blessed to be in the position where I would say that we're like somewhat friends with some games athletes, right? Definitely they know who we are. Yeah, at least they know who we are, and we know who they are, and we've had conversations with them, right?
Yeah.
So I love that there are games athletes and high-level athletes with YouTube channels, 100%, because it's entertaining, and that's the type of stuff I want to watch. I don't take their full day of eatings as this is what I should eat, and this is what I should do.
You'll gain 40 pounds.
Yeah,
probably.
It's more of a, okay, that's interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's also like they're also all sponsored by food and by supplements and so it's like, if I want to eat and have the supplements that they have, I need to spend $200 a week on everything, right?
That's important. That's a very good point. Yeah, so it's good, like I said, to be inspired, but to understand like where you are compared to they are.
Yeah. I think it's really, really important. And so to the people listening and to me, I mean, this is a good reminder for me, like, you gotta evaluate where you are, and then move from there. You're not gonna have the same diet. You're not gonna have the same schedule as a games athlete. Does that mean that you can't make crazy improvements inside the gym and on yourself? No, because we're focusing on the 1%.
Yeah.
We're focusing on keeping our feet together during muscle ups. We're focusing on hitting 185 pound snatch. Woo! You like how we brought that around?
Yeah,
that was like.
I think
level.
that it's all been connected. I don't know where do we start from there. We were talking about like you just first it started with the bodybuilding stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then we talked about expos, and then we talked about rest days. And
I wanted to talk about we kind of brushed over it, but I want to talk about Wodapalooza. So I know that you probably know more than I do because you follow that stuff a little bit more than I do.
I definitely know more than you, but it's fine.
You know more about everything than I do. But so Wodapalooza just passed. So that is the second, right? The second sanctional that has happened.
Correct.
And there have been three groups of individuals, I guess, if you want to call it, that are making their way to the games now. And
in theory,
yeah.
So here's the thing. This is why it's a big deal. Like these sanctional events, because Tia Claire Toomey won for the women. Who I'm blanking right now.
Patrick Vellner won.
Patrick Vellner won for the men, And then
Ramwad.
Ramwad Witt won for the team. So
Who is was it Alex Smith,
Jamie Green, Jessica Griffith,
and
Cody Mooney.
Cody Mooney, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
They all technically have a
ticket to. However, second place and third place for the men. We had
Travis Mayer,
and we had Noah Olson.
Shout out to Noah.
Yep, he's been
Friend
on this
of the
podcast. And then on the women's side, I don't know. I'm trying to look up the leaderboard right now. I'm pretty sure it was Carrie Pierce.
I think she was in second. Yeah, I don't know.
Carrie Pierce and Sarah Sigmundsdottir. So,
jeez, man.
Yeah. So here's why this matters. Here's why this is important. Let's assume Patrick Vellner is going to get a top 20 spot in the Open. That now becomes his ticket to the games. And Travis Mayer just got an invite.
And then say he gets in the top 20,
which is very possible. Noah Olson, very possible for him to get a top 20 spot.
He's won the Open before.
So it can be Drew Wayman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, and then, you go Carrie Pierce, Sigmundsdottir, Kristen Holt, Danny Spiegel. Like, these are all well-known names. Danny made her presence known at Dubai. And so it's like, to say that, Patrick Vellner's going to the games because he won Wodapalooza, yes.
Like, he's definitely there now.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about anything else.
But there's a real possibility that Travis Mayer, who was kind of a borderline, people were like, ooh, like he's made it to the games multiple times, but it has always been a drama. Mm-hmm. It has always been like a fight. And so the fact that now he potentially won, I think he made like $16,000 as second place. So cool, he's got a couple months of money for his family because this is his full-time job. And there's a real potential that he made it. So there's value in doing these sanctionals, doing multiple sanctionals, because even if you're not planning on being the top, like even if you don't think I am a first place person, I am a third to fourth to whatever, that is still a good chance.
Well, and you're making money too,
which
is important to a lot of these people because it is their full-time job. Now, I think that it's interesting how it's all kind of gotten, how it's playing out. But I'm curious so Patrick Vellner, he has his ticket now. What would be the motivation to push really hard in the Open, right? It's just, all it does is change where you seed, right? Basically, like what heat you're in.
Yeah, but you got to remember, the first 2 days, there's going to be 300 athletes. Mm-hmm. So you want one of those last heats.
Because then you're going to be pushing against people that are at your level. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just, I feel like it would
last time when we were talking about it on the podcast, I was just thinking 4 heats, 40 people, just like usual. I didn't consider the fact that, no. You're going to be in a heat with, the bottom people from their countries. Like there's going to be 300 other people setting a time that you need to try to beat. So if you can be in one of those last heats, like with the elite people,
you're going to
have an idea of what these other people are doing.
Well, and it's interesting because if you were to bring it back to our level, right? Think about when you're in a class with somebody so when we're in a class together, we always do better, right? Like I feel like I always do better
when CrossFit class.
Yeah, okay. CrossFit class. When we're able to
not like math.
No, because you won't beat me. But we do push each other harder. When I'm around somebody that's around my same level, I always push harder. But if I'm with a bunch of people that that aren't really, say I'm in a class with a bunch of new people, I'm not gonna push as hard. It's just I can't. It's hard. It's hard to get in that level. So that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. And then also I wanted to talk about. Did you have another point?
No, I was just gonna say that it's really crazy that so Vellner, the way he won is he got a first, second, third, second, first, seventh, second. So,
which is so different than normal. Normally he gets he has these crazy. He was basically just
But even on one event's getting 7th place.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how Tia Claire Toomey won: second, first, second, 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 first, first.
Jeez, man. Yeah, she's the real deal. I really like her. How cool would it be to get her on the podcast?
It would be pretty cool,
right? Her and Shane.
She's pretty down to earth.
Hey,
I don't think it's.
If you're listening to the podcast, go on and
tag Claire Toomey
and Shane
and be like, or even Shane. He has less followers, and then be like, you should. This is how we got to do it. Yeah,
just bother him. He's like, I can't even post anything. All it is just podcasts. Do the podcast. Then they're just not going to do it because they hate us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this. So what was the team that most people thought were going to win at Wodapalooza this year?
Oh yeah, 100%. It was going to be Mayhem.
right?
Mayhem Freedom.
Mayhem Freedom, right? So the team that has Rich Froning on it, they ended up in what place was it? Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up
Were
right
they-
now. But they did
they were-
better. They got better at the end. But
They ended in like 5th or 6th, right?
Mayhem Freedom ended in 5th place.
5th place.
They were behind Mayhem Independence
At
for
one
a
point,
long
yeah.
time.
So I think that's interesting because my theory is obviously it's really important to train with your team, which is what Mayhem does, right? They train together all the time. They have like they that's what they do. That's what they're known for.
That's their job.
That's their job.
Like
is to be in a team.
They move to Tennessee and they work out all day as a team all the time.
Yeah.
That's their job.
And so they always almost had a leg up in the other, like, since every year before this, because all the other teams you had to be technically from the same gym.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people didn't actually live with each other, so you're not able to train together. You're only able to really train together for regionals and then for the games. But with what Mayhem was able to do was they were able to train together the whole year. So a lot of times they would, I'm not saying they would win because they worked really hard, but they had a leg up because they were together all the time. Now they've changed it to where you don't have to be, you could be from anywhere in the world. And you don't have to be from the same gym to be on a team. And so now there's these super teams that are coming up, like the team that won. You know, they have, what is it? Has Mooney ever been to the games as an individual? Okay, so 4 individual athletes, games athletes.
Yeah. Cody Mooney should have probably made it to the games this year. He was one of the people who had one of the assault runner controversies.
Oh, really?
And it put him in a way deeper place during regionals than it should have. It was just
What was the assault runner controversy?
So
I didn't even hear about that.
during the 333,
Mhm.
the assault runners, like half of them didn't turn on. And so what they did is they have a white strip painted on the runner, and so if the runner doesn't turn on, you count the strips, how many times. And it was
jeez.
like every 20 strips was like a quarter mile or something, whatever it was, I don't remember. The people whose assault runners didn't turn on got off the assault runner like 3 minutes
Yeah,
or
that's
4 or
huge
5
deal.
minutes or something before people. So it was not a even like way to judge it. And so you had these people who were in front, but then this guy gets off the runner like 5 minutes before you. And you're just like, what
Yeah,
in the
that's
world?
really interesting. Okay, I didn't even know about
Yeah.
that. So they have sorry to get off topic, but so now there's these super teams. There's a bunch of them now.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of athletes that they're all really good athletes, but a lot of them, the ones that are going on teams, are people that weren't finishing top 5 right at the games. They were like, finishing middle of the pack. So they're like, let's get on a super team and maybe win. And so now there's these super teams. And so Mayhem ended up in 5th place, which is crazy. Like
Every team in front of them was a super team.
yeah, and
There was-
that's insane. Like,
There was
think
not an affiliate team. So Ramwad Wit and then Lesser Evil was the team that actually won Dubai.
yeah,
They got second
Weren't they
place.
not called Lesser Evil? But
No,
they were called like Invictus.
Invictus, yeah.
They
So,
just switched it up.
yeah. Team
We got a sponsor.
Team Misfit.
Yeah.
Which is 4 games athletes. And then Team Plus Ultra, which was 4 games athletes.
That's insane.
Nick Uranker, Thuri Helga Daughter, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, and Travis Williams.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh geez, Camille is on it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
She's a former champion.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the next team was Mayhem Freedom, and then CrossFit 417, which isn't a real affiliate, Invictus X, which isn't really a real affiliate, but they just happen to all go to an Invictus gym,
Mhm.
but Invictus is all over the world, at least all over the U.S. Mayhem Independence, another Invictus Boston, Forged by Zeus, which is. So all the other ones were real, except I don't think Four Loco was. So pretty much all the super teams placed a lot higher than
Yeah.
the affiliates.
Of course.
That's the point.
Of course. And so I think that it's interesting. But the thing is like, is it a bad thing? I'm not sure. Because I think that it's going to make watching the teams way more fun.
Oh, yeah.
Because think about it. I remember I've been to the games a couple times. I've been very lucky to be able to go. When the teams went, nobody was there until Rich Froning was on the field.
Yeah.
Period. It just nobody watched it. Now there's going to be tons of athletes that people actually know and want to see.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone that's made it on team before, because I think that's amazing. And like that was like in the back of my head, that was like my ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Make it to at least to regionals.
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen now. But I think that like, I get being upset about it. Like, I could see Rich Froning being like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for the whole sport in general, I think that it's a good thing.
I think it's pretty crazy that last year team switched to groups of 4.
And then
now this whole thing happened.
It's a lot of change.
Yeah.
It's a lot of change. Also, I wanted to talk about this because this is actually really cool. This is also about Wodapalooza, and this hits close to home for us. We actually have a champion from Wodapalooza that is the owner of our gym. His name is Vic McQuaid. He got first place. Is it 50 to 55?
Yeah.
First place. He is the champion of Wodapalooza. So I just want to say congratulations to Vic. I know he listens to the podcast from time to time. So Vic, awesome job. He actually overcame some adversity. Do you know about it? Do you want me to talk about it?
No, I know about it. I think it'd be kind of cool to get him on here so we can talk about it.
I want to kind of bring it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So what happened was he went through a lot of stuff. He could talk about that before if he wants to. I don't want to get all his stuff in here, but he went through a lot of stuff before the event even started, before Wodapalooza even started. So he gets to Wodapalooza. The first event is a 5K run on the sand, right, or something like that. And he ended up placing
plus a little bit of a swim, but yeah,
plus a little bit of swim. So he ended up, I guess a lot of stuff was going on. He almost wanted to quit during the run. Like he was almost out. He made a whole post on Instagram. This is why we know this, because he hasn't even gotten back yet from Miami, or if he hasn't been back at the gym yet. And so he wanted to give up. He ended up pushing, and he ended up getting third. And there's 20 people that compete, or is it 15?
I think it was 13 for Masters.
13?
Yeah.
So he ended up getting third, which is, that's pretty good. But apparently his chip that he had on his ankle, because that's how they time you, malfunctioned, and it ended up saying he got 11th. So basically he almost got last place is what the chip said. And he had to battle through. They weren't going to change it. They didn't ended up changing it until the last day of competition.
It was 14, but... Yeah.
14, okay. Where there was the last day of competition where there was only one, because it ended up raining that day, and then so one of the events was completely canceled. So he only had one chance, and he had to get first place. And he ended up getting first place in that event and won. And which is really cool because he actually, about 6 months ago, won Granite Games, which is now a sanctioned event. It wasn't when he won. But now he's technically won 2 sanctioned events, if you think about it like that. And I think that's really cool. So it's just cool that we have someone from our gym that is, doing really well. And I'm just really excited because he's been to the games twice. And he is, I know that he's hopeful of making it back this year, which is even harder now because there's only 10 Masters athletes are making it instead of 20. But he's showing that he has what it takes. So, again, we just wanted to say congratulations to him. And it's cool kind of being able to have a connection there. And so.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, it's just really cool because it is, he had a lot of setbacks before Wodapalooza. And then for that thing to happen with his chip malfunctioning and giving him 11th place, on the very first event, it was just that's enough to
break you, man.
Shake you. Yeah, exactly. And so the fact that he was able to go through and fight, and that probably gave him more of a fight, and then when they finally did give him that real placing,
it's I have a chance now. And you didn't give up, because say if you gave up.
Yeah, you didn't give up. Imagine how much that would suck if they were all right, you know what? You're right. You get third place.
Oh, I could have. If I would have pushed harder in those other events, even though I thought it was hopeless. Mm-hmm. So it's just it's just that that saying, right? Never give up until it's over. Yeah. As cheesy as that sounds. So yeah, I mean it's just really cool having him at the gym and the fact that he was able to do that. So.
Yeah. And then I think one more thing about Wodapalooza we wanted to talk about was something that Ben Smith brought up on Instagram. He brought it to everyone's attention, and they did seem to reply, but it still kind of seems kind of shady.
Did they reply? Yeah. Oh, I'm interested in this.
Okay, so Ben Smith posted on his Instagram
which is weird.
Yeah,
for me. He is. I was like, this is Ben Smith posting this because he is. He's someone when I think of him the nicest, not saying
chill.
That.
He'll go with it.
He won't cause anything, and so the fact that he posted this, I was reading it, and I sent it to John. I was like, "Do you see this?"
Yeah. So basically, the people who programmed Wodapalooza.
Ben Smith, by the way, sorry to interrupt. He's a previous games champion. Mm-hmm. If you don't know, so he's
competed at the CrossFit Games for over a decade.
Yeah.
He's well known and well respected. And the people who programmed Wodapalooza, it was called the Collective. And so you had Misfit program, you had Comp Train program, you had Street Parking program, you had this, that, a whole bunch of Chris Henshaw. Okay, so Decacomp. Here's the thing. There are athletes who are Misfit athletes. There are Comp Train athletes. There are Decacomp athletes. There are people who are specifically trained by Chris Henshaw. So to have those people programming an event and then have their athletes competing at the event
and winning
seems
unfair.
Unfair.
And that's what the post was about.
That was the post. And it's a very valid point.
It's interesting.
He wasn't whining and he wasn't complaining. He was just saying, "Hey guys, I know this is new, so I'm giving you like a grace period, but don't you think this is
And
sketch?"
it's interesting because if you think about it, his younger brother made it to the games from, I don't know, he doesn't follow any of those programming, I don't think. But it's still interesting because his brother, was one of the people that made it to the games from that event.
Yeah, but he didn't know that when he posted that because it was before the event started, or like the first day, I mean. So Alec hadn't won yet.
I know. It's not like I was saying he was throwing shade at his brother.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting, you know.
But apparently, the reply, here's how it happened, and it kind of seems like doesn't really seem like to hold up a lot of weight. But what Wodapalooza did is they said, "Chris Henshaw, can you give us a workout that involves swimming, please?" And Chris Henshaw said, "All right, cool, yeah, I think this would be a good workout." And they go, "Okay, we were actually hoping to use this area of the park. Can you send us another workout?" "Okay, yeah, cool." "Okay, we're actually hoping to include this time domain. Can you send us another workout?" And so it's pretty much like Chris sent 7 workouts, and they go, "We're going to go with this one of the 7. And then they did the same thing with street parking. And they did the same thing with Misfit. They did the same thing with where they were like, "Here's the kind of idea we're looking at. Send us a couple workouts." And then they pick one from there, and they go, "Okay, that's the one we work out." And then Misfit, CompTrain, all these companies, they don't really know what the final one's going to be until the event started.
Yeah.
I kind of think there's some, I'm going to call foul on that a little bit, because why would they need their help then? If they know what they want, they know the domain, they know this, they know that, then why? If anything, it's just a PR move. It's just hey, we're going to put your name on this event. Like, we're going to put your name, Misfit, 5K run by Misfit. It's like, did Misfit really need to program that? Did they really need to program 5K a run? No, but it is a nice way of being like, oh, wow, this company is involved in the community, right? And so for Wodapalooza to have such strict, specific guidelines on what they want the workouts to look like, but then be like, oh, no, but they programmed it. It doesn't fit. I think they were trying to, quell any potential storm before it gets too crazy, but what do you think about it?
I think that it's interesting, and I mean, if that's true what they were saying, which I doubt that they would be lying, I still think that it's just too easy to have people feel the way Ben does, because I agree with what he was saying, and so, but at the same time, like he said, this is new. I'm willing to give it a grace period. I get it, but I think that. This is stuff that you want. I definitely never even thought about being an issue until now it's been brought up. So I think that now that it's been brought up, I'm sure there will be steps that are taken to change that from happening again.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that this does give rise to new opportunities, like Austin Maliano, or whatever, however you say his name, James Hobart and Hendel, whatever his first name is, Spencer Hendel. Yeah, they are creating a programming company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where they're consultants helping these CrossFit sanctional events create programming.
Aren't they creating all the workouts for the China one, right?
Yeah. That's how. I mean, that was their first. Was they created this consulting company, and now they're going to be doing the programming for this.
And so I mean, I think that I agree with Ben, but at the same time, and he even said it himself. I get that it's new, so I think that we saw that was going to be that's an issue now, and so I think that. Now that we see it's an issue, if it happens again, then it's like, no, this can't happen again. I get the outrage, kind of. It's not like he wasn't. There wasn't
outrage. Yeah. It was more of just we need to be aware of this.
Yeah, we need to be aware of this.
I saw a comment on it or something where they were like, I bet you this is the first time since all the games changing that Dave Castro's smiling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there could be an element of maybe Dave Castro needs to approve these, or someone.
I mean, that's a lot, though.
I know.
That's a lot of workouts. Say, 6 to 7 workouts each sanctional, and there's 18?
16, 18.
Something like that.
That's crazy.
I'm not going to do the math, but that's a lot. That would be a lot of workouts to have to, approve. I feel like that would be a lot of work.
I think that I'm really excited because the game season, the CrossFit game season, I think is going to be 8 months long. There's going to be a 4-month off season after the games, right? Or whatever it is. Maybe not 4 months, but something. So it's not that we've got 18 sanctional events in 1 year. We've got 18 sanctional events in 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot, and to be able as a spectator to see the top people of the sport compete that often, I'm like stoked about it.
Yeah, I think
it's super cool.
The more that we're getting into it, the more I appreciate it, and I think it's cool. But I do understand how with regionals, it was already kind of confusing. Not really, but like if you're coming from nothing, I remember how I felt when I first like got into CrossFit, and I was like, I don't understand like what the open and regional, like I didn't understand it, right? It's not super confusing, but it can be if you don't know anything. Now if you're trying, I mean, it's pretty confusing, and I've been explained, I've had you explain it, I've had a lot of people explain it to me, and I'm still not 100% sure how everything works.
I don't even think CrossFit is 100%
Yeah,
sure
that's
how
a good
everything
point.
works. I think it'll get better.
Yeah,
And
and it'll probably change over time too.
it absolutely
like,
will change
when
because
things
the
aren't-
Open's going to be. We're having 2 Opens this year.
Yeah, that's true.
So
So they're not going to be 2 Opens every year.
yeah,
But yeah, so I know that we talk about it a lot, but it's just such a huge change in a sport that we're really interested in. And again, this is our podcast, so we're going to talk about what we want to talk about. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so is that everything you wanted to talk about?
that was it.
Wodapalooza?
Stop saying everything that I want to talk about.
Sorry.
This is everything off the list that we created
Well-
together.
I just don't want to stop talking.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, so
Change subjects. Super. This is the smoothest
Transition
subject
ever.
change ever.
okay. Well, hey, man. Sometimes you just gotta be like
You just
that.
gotta do it,
know?
man.
So
you
okay.
gotta let them know. Sometimes.
Gotta let them know sometimes. So I was thinking about this a couple days ago. So I wrote it down, and I think that I think it's an important thing to think about. So when you think about like losing weight, a lot of people are even just getting fit, not just losing weight, but right, like putting too much stock in certain things. So like, thinking that I'm going to lose 50 pounds, so then I'll be happy and then everything will go right and then everything will be good. And then not even to just talk about, weight loss, but think about like, I need to get a muscle up. And once I get a muscle up, I will be happy and I will be content and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
And just understanding that that's like not a good way to think of that. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that just because I think that it's, especially when it, if you want to talk about weight loss, it's something that people, because it's such a journey and it takes a while, you think that, in 6 months, 8 months, whatever, however long it takes me to lose this weight, everything's going to be good and I'm going to be happy now. And so for me, it was like I did that and I thought that I would be, once I lose the weight, I'm going to be all happy, but it just wasn't true. And so I just, I kind of wanted to make sure that I let people know that just because you're losing weight, like you have to focus on your mental, your mental health and the things that you're dealing with there instead of just like, I'm going to lose weight and then everything's going to be better. Because it's just like, that's just not a good way to look at it.
I mean, the way I see it is like you have to, and this is hard. Like this is hard. I'm not saying this is easy, but you have to like yourself as you are. Like you have to be okay. Even not like, I don't know, like you have to like yourself as you are. Because if you have these like insecurities, if you have these things that you're afraid of, like getting rid of those will not make you like yourself, right? Like this is going to be a matter of like, can you look deep down at yourself and can you be proud of the effort that you're putting in? Can you be proud of who you are, where you've come from? And then from that place, decide, I deserve better than what I'm giving myself, right? If it's, I'm not worthy of love until I'm, or I am not good enough until I, like, you're going to reach that line and you're going to look and find out that line is actually 500 feet forward.
Yeah,
And then
or
you're going
like,
to reach that line and you're going to realize, it's actually that much more forward.
Yeah, or if you think like I won't be happy until I.
Yeah.
It's just because like for me it was like say right it was with the muscle up. I won't be happy until I get a muscle up because once you get it, all you're thinking about is okay, now I want to string them. Okay, now I want to do this. Okay, now I want to, and like that's good. It's good to have goals, but you can't tie that to your own self-worth. That's where the danger comes in. Because then you're always feeling like you're, because like anybody, especially if you're a motivated person, every time you hit a goal, you're setting another goal anyways. So it's like you're always trying to hit this goal, but then once you get it, you realize, wait, well, I actually have a new goal now, which is good. Like that's how it should be. But if you're tying that to your self-worth, that's where it's bad because then it's like, I'm never worthy. I'm never worthy. I'm never worthy. Like nothing's working, or like I'm losing weight, but I'm still not happy. I'm still not happy with what's going on. It's there was a meme that I posted a long time ago on my main Instagram, and it was like a really crudely drawn like stick figure, and it was like someone that you could tell that they were overweight, and it was like, I'm not happy. There was like a little speech bubble, and then under it, it was that person, obviously they were skinny, and the speech bubble said, well, that wasn't it. And so, but it's like so true, because so many people go through that thinking, once I lose weight, I'm going to be happy. And it's just not true. And then people, when they think like that, they end up actually taking really drastic measures that are very unhealthy. So a lot of times when people develop eating disorders, when they develop disordered eating, when they developed other things, it's because they were so attached to the thought of, I need to lose weight to be happy, so I will do whatever it takes, no matter how unhealthy that might be. And so that's the whole reason I wanted to bring it up, is because, and that could go for not just weight loss. It can go for any sort of fitness routine. Like if you are chasing it to an unhealthy amount, thinking that it's going to fill this void in your heart, it's not going to. And it's important to know that before you go chasing that.
Yeah, you need Jesus.
Yeah, just don't go chasing waterfalls.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
What I think is, like, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, and we've talked about it before, and it's not brain good stuff. Like, you have to
Spoken like a true poet, John.
Yep, you have to be the hero of your story. Like, you have to convince yourself, like, that's where you are. And if you're like overweight, if you're bad at money, if you're sucking at CrossFit, if you are terrible at everything you do, like this is what makes good stories. So don't think I'm going to be awesome when I'm there. Be like, no, you are awesome now. You are just unrefined awesome. All you need to do.
I'm just that's a good shirt right there.
I am
unrefined awesome.
Unrefined awesome.
That's so good.
Like you have everything you need right where you are, in the dump, in the slump, in the bottom, by yourself. You know, you have everything you need. You are just not, you haven't used it yet. You haven't found it yet. You haven't, So as you are the hero of your story. You're at that stage in the very beginning where it's dark, where it's lonely, and then you're going to start that process, and you're going to start that journey, and then you're going to have people who cut you down, and and people are going to have to see you overcome that, and then that makes you more approachable and more relatable, right? And then you're going to keep on going, and then your business partner is going to cheat you or something, and you have to learn to overcome that, and you have to keep on going, and eventually you will get to that point where you can look back and you say, man, I really appreciate that I took the steps then in the bottom, because these things have shaped me to the person I am today. And if you are in the slumps and you're at the bottom and you keep on thinking this is what I'll always be, or if I want to be happy, I have to be someone else, you won't get there.
Yeah, you're going to stay where you are.
You're going to stay where you are, or you're going to do those drastic measures and try to become someone else. Mm-hmm. So, like, again, I have avidly said that I'm against fake it till you make it, and I still am. Like, even in those, like we just said, like, even in that low bottom spot, you're still unrefined awesome. Like, you still have what it takes, even there. So don't fake that you're someone else. Look at and take a hard look at who you are, your skills, your abilities. What do you need to get to that next step? And then go and pursue those things. Don't have like a fake rose-colored lens over everything. Like, have an honest conversation with yourself. What are the skills and things that you need to develop, and start working on it?
No, 100% I agree. And if you think about like the hero's journey, how interesting would it be if it started and the person was already awesome and they did everything they needed to do and it wasn't an issue, right? Think about Rocky, like one of the most inspirational stories ever, right? Complete underdog, but it's not like he found this amazing thing and became this great boxer. No, he already had it inside of him. He just chased it and worked really hard.
Yeah.
And against all odds, he overcame those things. I get that it's a movie, but that's the reason that people are so inspired by it.
Yeah.
Is because he started from nothing. He didn't complain about it and like wallow in his sorrow. He was like, no, I'm going to work really hard and no matter where I'm at and try and be better and not try and cheat, not try and, cut things or cut corners. It was like, no, I'm just going to work really hard in the dark by myself without anybody. And then eventually you conquer that demon, you conquer that thing that you want to conquer, you become champion of the world. That's why it's inspiring. It's not inspiring if you just see somebody that's starting from the top and Started from the top. Now I'm still here.
Yeah. But what is inspiring about someone, like, let's say you find yourself and you are pretty fit, and that's why you enjoy this podcast, because you enjoy talking about this, and you are in a fit, and you're, whatever, and you're there. You know what's super inspiring about that person? When they don't use that to make themselves better, but they use that to help someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so even if you are in that spot where you are like, oh, no, life's pretty good, life's pretty great, like, do something for someone else. I promise you, on the most selfish level, you're going to feel better than you ever have, right? Because there's something about helping other people that, like, is super awesome and, like, makes you feel like even more of a BA. But it also gives that other person, like, that fighting chance or whatever, So even if you are in that spot, but, like, even at the bottom, like, you've got what it takes. You are unrefined awesome.
Unrefined awesome. I really like that word. I like that saying, I guess. I think that's good.
Do you remember when we came up with Work for Change? Because it was a we thing, not a you thing.
When did we come up with that?
So we were in North Park, and we just went to the coffee shop, and we were walking back to our car because we wanted to go to this breakfast place, but it was, like, super busy.
Yeah. Crazy busy.
Yeah, and we were talking about something, and I said, like, if you want change, you have to do something you've never done before. Like, you have to work for that change.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were like, work for change. I really like that.
Yeah.
And then you sent a text to Brian.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to make a shirt. I want to make a thing. And then you started putting it on your posts and blah,
I remember
blah.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the exact day. Yeah, I just remember thinking, like...
'Cause a lot of people were like, how do you feel that John's using his own phrase for the podcast? Like, I've had a lot of people ask me that.
Oh, really?
I'm like, that's not his phrase. I let him have it.
We worked on it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was... And I mean, it's so true, though, in everything. You just gotta, like... Yeah, that's why I really like the name. I think that it was... like, we didn't even, like... I remember we were talking about doing a podcast, and we're like, what would we call it? We wanted to make sure that it wasn't, like, a weight loss thing, only weight loss thing. And then I was like, work for change, and we were both like, yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we are really leaning hard on the Glodcast.
Glodcast podcast.
The Glodcast podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, there's a other known podcast in the CrossFit world that uses the Wodcast podcast.
Oh, yeah, that one would have been good.
And so the Glodcast and then Wodcast, and it's just been like, okay.
Imagine if we joined forces and became the Wodcast Glodcast podcast.
What if we became the Wad Glod podcast?
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Glod podcast.
That every time. All right, restart. Take 57. Go.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Wad podcast. Dang it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
And we also probably would have been everyone would have been like, oh, is that the Gloudcast?
Yeah.
No, it's
yeah.
not the
Our name
Gloudcast.
is spelled kind of strange.
Imagine being Gene Gloud. Like, imagine having my name where it's like literally no part will someone get it right.
That's true. Well, yeah, but at least you're not like our uncle.
Claude Glod?
Yeah. Our uncle's name is Claude Glod.
And it's not even like a nickname.
Yeah. Why? I don't know. We don't know.
We don't know why our family decided to name him Claude Glod and then also name us Jean and John.
People always ask, like, was it hard? I'm like, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
People call me John David, and that's it, pretty much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 13 of the Work for Change podcast. It's been a blast.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Talk to you next week.
Peace.
Peace.